Hello, my friends. Dr. Dan here. So excited to be with you all to talk about GLP-3 and its metabolic health benefits. What I want you to take away today from our discussion is I want you to understand that GLP-3 is a metabolic health powerhouse. So I want you to remember that. And I'm going to explain to you why GLP-3 is this metabolic health powerhouse and why it's important to you and those you love. The first thing that we need to do to understand is we need to define metabolism. And this is not well defined or well understood in the public. When we think metabolism, a lot of us think fat burning, we think losing weight, we think dropping pounds, slim waist size, those sorts of things, but that's not the true definition of metabolism. The true definition of metabolism is the sum total of all the molecular processes that happen in the body every single second. That's the metabolism. And so everything related to brain health, heart health, bone health, joint health, gut health, all of this combined is a metabolism. So as you're listening to this presentation, you're hearing my voice. That voice is being translated into signals that the brain picks up. Cognition is understanding it. The food that you ate before you got on this call, it's being broken down, it's being digested. Glucose is being produced. Insulin is rising to meet it. You have hormones, leptin, ghrelin, all of this coming together, ebbing and flowing like our circadian rhythm in a symphony. That's the metabolism. And I submit to you that the most important thing that we can do to be healthy and strong is to have a healthy, vibrant metabolism. That's it. And so for me, I'm a natural products chemist. I study and discover molecules, but the reason why I do that is to balance out our metabolism, because when you do that, everything obviously takes care of itself. So that's the definition of our metabolism. And what I also want you to remember is GLP-3 is the world's premier metabolic health product. Let me say that again. GLP-3 is the world's premier metabolic health product. So when people ask you, what is GLP-3? You tell them it's a metabolic health product. It's a product that helps to regulate and maintain a healthy metabolism. Well, you might say, well, I thought GLP-3 was a weight loss product. Well, GLP-3 can help us lose weight, and thousands of people have lost weight because of GLP-3. But GLP-3, because it balances our metabolism, it helps us to lose weight because weight loss, as it says here on the slide, is a side effect of bringing our metabolism back into balance. So the reason why GLP-3 is so great is it's a metabolic health product. And metabolic health is a big deal. When our metabolism is sick, that's called metabolic syndrome. And 50% of Americans and Canadians have metabolic syndrome. And we'll talk later on about what metabolic syndrome means and what are the criteria. But the bottom line is our metabolisms are sick. We need to fix it. And that's why we developed GLP-3. So to get healthy, to get our metabolism from where it currently is to tip-top shape is like climbing a mountain. This is a mountain called K2. It's one of the highest mountains in the world and one of the most technical mountains to climb. And the reason why I put this mountain on this slide is getting to the top of K2 is akin to getting to the top of our metabolic function, to get ship shape where our metabolism is firing on all cylinders 24/7. And this is a journey. So some people, when they take GLP-3, they lose weight right away. They feel great. Other people, it might take some time. It might take a week, 3 weeks, 12 weeks. Really, you should be taking this product for at least 6 months before you will see weight loss, right? A lot of people are like, well, I've taken it 5 days and I haven't seen any weight loss. I haven't seen my metabolism being balanced. Well, the reason is our metabolism is at different phases on this journey. For some of us, our metabolism is pretty good. It might be 2/3 of the way up that mountain, figuratively speaking, on that ridge, climbing towards the summit and reaching the summit in about an hour. For some of us, we might be on the ice field at the bottom of that mountain with our ice axe, our pickaxe, and our crampons, just grinding through that ice field. Some of us might actually be asleep in that tent, figuratively speaking, with our metabolism. We have a long ways to go. And others of us, we might not even be at the base camp here at the base of K2. We might be at our home in Utah or Florida or Taiwan or wherever we are. So the point I'm making here, my friends, is that metabolic health is a journey. We all start at different phases of this journey, depending on where our metabolic function currently is. And by taking GLP-3, the important thing is when we start taking this product, we start step after step after step, one step in front of each other to get to the top of this mountain. So let's talk about what are some of the benefits of balancing your metabolism. Well, as I said earlier, everything gets better when you balance metabolic function. But there's a few things that you're going to see right away. The first is increased natural energy. When you balance metabolic function, and the reason and the way that we balance metabolic function is by regulating an enzyme and a pathway in the body called GLP-1, glucagon-like peptide 1. And so GLP-1 is an enzyme that binds to the GLP-1 receptor. And when it binds to the receptor, it initiates thousands of metabolic processes. And these processes, these cascades, we call them signal transduction cascades, these cascades improve metabolic health. And one of these cascades helps to give us increased natural energy. One of the things that GLP-1 is so good at doing is and the reason why it gives us energy is it helps to balance blood sugar and blood insulin levels in the body. Glucose is one of the most important molecules that's vital for life because glucose is fuel. The body takes glucose, common name for glucose is sugar. The body takes sugar and breaks it down and converts it into energy. So what happens is when we eat something with carbohydrates, complex carbohydrates preferably, the body breaks those complex carbohydrates down into simple sugars and ultimately down into glucose, one sugar molecule, and the cells take that sugar in and convert it to energy in the mitochondria, which is a power plant of the cell. So this is a very important process. The problem, though, when our metabolism is not balanced, is the sugar hangs out in the bloodstream. Sugar hangs out in the bloodstream, glucose levels rise, insulin levels rise, the body becomes insulin resistant, and that leads to metabolic dysfunction and metabolic syndrome. But when our metabolism is functioning properly, all that glucose pours into the cell. It's converted to energy rapidly in the mitochondria, and we feel great. We feel increased natural energy. So that's one of the first things that you're going to see. One of the second things that you're going to see is you're going to see an improvement in your sleep quality. Now, you might ask, well, how does GLP-1 and metabolism relate to sleep quality? Well, a couple of different things. One of the things that GLP-1 when we target this pathway that it does is it reduces inflammation. And that makes sense because when you have excess sugar in the bloodstream hanging out, that causes that creates what we call advanced glycation end products or AGEs. And AGEs cause inflammation. So when you take GLP-3 and blood sugar levels are balanced, all the sugar is going into the cell, converting it into energy. That means inflammation is down, neuroinflammation in the brain is down, and that allows us to sleep better. So you're going to find more restful sleep. You're going to go into all phases of the sleep cycle, and you're going to wake up refreshed and energized. You're also not going to wake up as many times in the night. And I know a lot of you that have taken this product that I've talked with have seen this. So while people say, well, I might not lose weight, immediately we should be saying, well, do you have more energy? Do you have more spring in your step? Are you sleeping better? Because those are indicators that our metabolism is being brought back into balance. Now, the other thing that I've talked about, I've hinted at this, is improved glucose and insulin control. Glucose and insulin drive many of the metabolic pathways in the body. And so we want to make sure that this is in balance. And so when we take GLP-3 and it binds to that GLP-1 receptor, it makes sure that glucose levels, insulin levels are controlled, they're functioning properly, making sure that the body is insulin sensitive, making sure that it's glucose sensitive. So whenever you take something with carbohydrates, with sugar, it immediately goes into the cell. That's when you know your body is functioning properly. If it doesn't immediately go into the cell, like we talked about, it's causing inflammation. That sugar is going to be converted into fat. That fat is going to sit on your hips, your belly, and other places. And that leads to an increased risk of metabolic syndrome. The other thing you're going to see is a reduction in brain fog. Why? Well, because the sugar is being converted to fuel. That fuel gives the body and the brain more energy, and that increased energy in the brain can dispel the brain fog that can happen. The other thing is inflammation, like I talked about. When we have brain fog, a lot of that is because inflammation in the brain is increased. And GLP-1 also works synergistically with a really cool enzyme, a receptor, a pathway called BDNF, brain derived neurotrophic factor. And these two work together like hand and glove. And so when GLP-1 is functioning properly, it actually brings BDNF back into balance. And a net result of that is you think clearer, you think sharper, and the brain functions like it should be. It's a beautiful thing. So metabolic function, metabolism, that's what GLP-3 is all about. Now let's talk about the results, real world results. And I have here a case study, Sherry P. Look at this before and after, February 21st, 26 to after in March. Look at that. Look at the difference there. This is just about a month. Isn't that crazy? And look at her testimonial. She took it twice a week, quickly lost 11 pounds, lots of inches, no more food noise. But just as important, or even more important, long term, she's sleeping better. Brain fog has lifted, so much focus. And Sherry says she'll never stop taking GLP-3. And that's an important point, my friends. A lot of people ask me, well, how long should I take GLP-3? Should I take it, and then after I've lost 10 pounds or 15 pounds, then I stop? Or after I'm sleeping better, should I stop? This product is a metabolic health product. Metabolism happens all the time. Every single second, like I said, there's thousands and thousands of metabolic processes that are happening. And so if GLP-3 is a metabolic health product and our metabolism never sleeps, it never takes a break, it never has a day off. So, how often should we take it? All the time, every single day, twice a day. You could take it more if you want for the rest of your life. That's how you should take this product. This is designed to be taken every single day for the rest of your life. And when you do that, it will continue to bring your metabolism back into balance. Because, as I said earlier, the most important thing you can do for your health is to balance your metabolism. Another one, Joanne, look at this, February to May. Look at that difference. Amazing. Great job, Joanne. So, Joanne, down 20 pounds in 90 days, dropped 3% body fat, lost a few inches. And then she talks about she loves Kinetic, Eternel, and Vitalite. And I chose this example. One of the reasons I chose it is because she talks about our other products. And we need to not forget our Simple Six products. So GLP-3 is a product that jumpstarts our metabolism and it maintains a healthy metabolism, but so does Kinetic, Eternel, Vitalite, Purify, Revive, Immune, Collagen. These products help to maintain a healthy metabolism as well. And they do so by regulating the genes of our body. So you should be taking Kinetic, Eternel, Vitalite, Revive for a healthy inflammatory status, Purify, Immune. You should be taking these every single day along with GLP-3. But I love what she says in that last paragraph, confidence. When we have a healthy metabolism, we feel confident in our own skin. We look better, we feel better. And when you've climbed that mountain, like K2 in our example before, when you've climbed your figurative metabolic health mountain and you're on the top, you know you can conquer anything. So these are a couple of results, and we've received hundreds and hundreds of testimonials about the power of GLP-3. But the purpose of this tonight was to show you that GLP-3 is all about metabolic health. So when someone asks you, hey, what is GLP-3? You say GLP-3 is a metabolic health product that can help maintain a healthy weight. It can help you lose some pounds. But just as importantly, it can help you sleep better, think better, feel better. It can help regulate blood sugar and blood insulin levels, and so much more. That's what you tell them, and you say, are you interested in trying it? They try it. And as you know, when you take GLP-3, you feel a difference right away. Not just losing pounds, you sleep better, you feel better, you think better. So, my friends, GLP-3 is the world's most powerful metabolic health product. And we're on a metabolic health revolution here at 3. That's what we're doing. Through GLP-3 and our Simple Six products, we are changing metabolic health. individual to individual, until we have affected all the 8.1 billion people on the planet and brought their metabolism back into balance. Thank you, my friends, for being with you. I love you. I'm grateful to work with you, and take care.